Hey, it's Todd Duncan. Welcome to hashtag 2020 Gave Me. This is our 21-day experience where each day I'm sharing with you a gift that I believe 2020 gave me, probably gave you. And I'm asking you to spend 10 to 15 minutes every day kind of parking on the gift and seeing what you can do with it. The 11th gift that 2020 gave me is the gift of courage and creativity. I'm sure I speak for the thousands of you checking out these videos every day, that if you've had to muster some courage during COVID, you understand what I'm talking about. Shortly after COVID hit, I had to reach deep and decide what we were going to do as a company and what I was going to do as CEO to help lead the company through these waters of uncertainty that we had all entered. I was immediately given the words courage and creativity. It hit me hard. Whenever that happens, I stop what I'm doing and I start writing. This is from my journal on April 4th, 2020. I wrote these words 1 month after COVID hit. If I harness more courage, I will unleash more creativity, and right now I need both. I've always been courageous, but I needed a different level of courage right now. I needed to understand that there was a relationship between courage and creativity, and I needed to really understand that creativity right now was the most important thing our company needed. I didn't know where COVID was going to take us, but I knew one thing for sure. The event business was over, live. The days of getting on an airplane and going to hotels and speaking to people, temporarily, maybe long-term, suspended. Didn't know. Month, 2 months, year, 2 years. What did I need? I needed courage and I needed creativity. I believe to live a great and mysteriously wonderful, fulfilled, and connected life, we all need to take hold of the idea that nothing great was ever achieved without courage and creativity. Everything. And it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. High interest rates, low interest rates, high unemployment, low unemployment, pandemic, no pandemic. Anybody that does anything great has got to muster courage and creativity. They're two of the greatest gifts we can ever receive. And I stumbled upon this truth. It's very interesting. The brave may not live forever, but the cautious may not live at all. Phew. So just as we are a work in progress, our story is always on the move. Forward, backward, left, right, up, down, sometimes in reverse, sometimes all around, but it is our story. COVID has impacted our story, period. Popular research professor Brene Brown says this about our story. She says, owning our story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it. Embracing our vulnerabilities is risky, but not nearly as dangerous as giving up on love and belonging and joy, the experiences that make us the most vulnerable. Only when we are brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light. I love that from Brene Brown. Since your story and my story, they're always being developed, the most important feeling an individual will ever have is a feeling of acceptance and worthiness. I mean, those two outcomes come as a result of courage in the face of doubt, fear, and hard choices. And creativity is a way out of those very same things. If we practice courage and creativity in all of life's moments, we most likely remain on the track to improvement and inspiration. Courageous and creative living require that as an organism, you and I are organisms, we're always developing and we're always growing. Sounds easy, right? Well, it's not, which is why it's so valuable. Here's a truth, and this is a big truth. The only way you get more courage is by being more courageous. Wow. The only way you get more courage is by being more courageous. See, the moment your courage and bravery push out fear and doubt with action, you have more courage. The things that were harder, easier, the easier they become, the more natural those behaviors become, habits. Your future is your habits. And because you're clear on your purpose, which we discussed on day 2, and you believe in what you're doing because of vision and trust and loving yourself and having a healthy attitude around failure, the more naturally you will orient around courage. How has COVID impacted your courage, your creativity, your resolve, your spirit? Courage shows up when you're okay with risk and vulnerability and potentially not getting it right the first time or the second or. It's only when those three thoughts come together that you will do what you are not yet doing. And the chances are 100% that you do the new thing or to share the new thought, to do that, to share or disclose the fear or admit to being wrong and hundreds of other things. If you're not growing your courage muscle, you're not improving your life experience. But when you do those things through moments of courage, you feel more alive, more worthy, more positive, and that creates an even deeper and more passionate willingness to be more courageous. More courage creates more courage. So where does creativity come into play? Well, here's where. Every act of courage, depending on the level of risk, the vulnerability, or fear of failure, could be accelerated by creative thinking. Saying it a bit differently, creative living is a path for the brave. When courage dies, creativity dies with it. You must have one to have the other. Creativity and fear fight for position, and it is a jousting match of the most significant kind. The greater your creativity, the faster fear is going to try to catch up. And if you don't deal with it well, you will throttle back your creativity, which then gives fear a break. And that equals stuck. So let me illustrate. When I was first in sales, I remember in a particular 2-week period of time, I made 100 sales calls and I got not one yes. And I kept making calls because someone told me you got to keep making calls. And I was playing the numbers game. I can remember when courage started to falter. I can remember actually feeling fear before making calls that I was about to make. I can actually remember being in parking lots, getting ready to walk in and call on businesses. And I remember my courage was just dissipated. Somebody had told me never give up. So I kept making the calls, but I kept making them wrong. This will lead to less courage, not more. It will lead to more fear, not less. Interesting, right? So what I could do instead is I could stop. And in the midst of risk, the midst of vulnerability or fear, I could decide to get creative and ask, what do I need to do so that I'm more likely to succeed and get a yes? So when you marry courage and creativity, you can change your life. I went from a 90% failure rate to a 90% success rate in 30 days by simply changing the way I set appointments. Instead of showing up and hoping someone had time to talk with me, I sent valuable resources like a book and a valuable and thoughtful letter in an overnight delivery package so I'd get noticed. In one creative shift, I got people's attention, was more professional, and when I called for the appointment, I heard yes. The more I did this, I continued to become more courageous, increasing more and more attempts to hire and hire producers, risk, vulnerability, and fear. But as I got more creative with more value because of better clients, the outcome was the same, yes. Pretty soon I didn't call on any prospects, but the very best. Courage opened the door to creativity, and creativity won the day. How do you tap into creativity? Courage. Wait. You might be saying, wait. Well, to have more courage, you need to be more creative. And to be more creative, you will need more courage. Totally symbiotic relationship. Try it. You might be very, very surprised. So here's the question of the day. Where and how would more courage and creativity change 2021 for you? Where and how would more courage and creativity change 2021 for you?